welcome to the Bible Chew. My name is Chassie and this is my lovely aunt,
Carrie.
And we are doing 2 Corinthians chapter 1 today. And so I just started digging into it a little bit, trying to learn some stuff. I like this a lot. I'm excited. I want to learn a whole bunch about this chapter. I know very little about it and the time period that Paul was in during this, but yeah, that's what's going on here.
Cool.
So,
What'd you see?
well, I really liked, what stood out to me was verse 5 and 6. And verse 5 is, "For as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, so our consolation also abounds through Christ." And then now, if we are afflicted, it is not for your consolation and salvation. It is, for your consolation and salvation, which is effective for enduring the same sufferings which we also suffer. I'm just was trying to learn what's Paul talking about here, and so I was asking my aunt actually if she had any background information and insight, which she did. And so I don't know if you just want to share a little bit of that.
What part exactly?
About Paul and his persecution that he experienced. Was it from the Church of Corinth that was doing some of the persecuting him, or is just along his journey?
Well, I think most of Paul's journey was through suffering and through persecution and through jail time and things like that. And people not really wanting to hear what he said and stuff like that. Specifically in the book, he's dealing with people who are what they call super apostles, or people who have some sort of hierarchy in just the Corinth church in general. Corinth as a people, Greece as a people, that are coming in and just speaking really against Paul, just really against him, not liking anything he says, taking all his words and twisting them around and just kind of stirring up the church in a way that's just unnecessary. And I think a lot of it is they're probably threatened that Paul is actually speaking truth and they really actually have no idea what they're saying. So.
Right. That's good. Now he's also laying down his life. He probably doesn't look like some of these people in the Church of Corinth. Is that correct? Would you say they look well put together? They maybe there's a lot of fashion that they care about.
Most definitely could be really just even a modern day Hollywood, like the Greeks and the Romans and just the different cultures that are all coming in, since this is, I think, what did we read? The third largest or most wealthiest or something within Greece is Corinth. And so you've got a lot of people coming in, a lot of rich people, a lot of well-to-dos, probably wearing the fanciest clothes, they really pride themselves on eloquent speech, credentials, who you know, what your title might be, stature. They were really into the physical appearance. If you looked, I guess, well built, or if you looked healthy, that you had money and stuff, then you were actually paid attention to. And
Paul has scars all over his body.
Yep.
Doesn't have eloquent speech, right?
Yep. He's weak. He's probably poor. Not a lot of people follow him.
He's probably been fasting a lot. Well, maybe not.
Well,
He's just been living the lifestyle where he cares so much about Jesus, and he's getting attacked. And he's getting actual persecution, death threats.
Death threats, and just, he's getting accused that his words are lying, that he's lying, that he doesn't actually care for the people at all. Yeah. He's getting accusations that he's not, he says one thing and does another, and it's because these people have elegant speech and because they know how to manipulate their words, they're actually making sense, which is really sad, because the people are like, oh yeah, this Paul guy, I'm not quite sure. And I think Paul gets really sad because he started the church, from what we were reading, maybe 5 years ago, and he poured a lot into them. I think this is the second visit, but maybe the 4th letter that Paul was trying to write to them. So He definitely loves them.
He loves them a lot. And
Yeah.
somewhere in here it was talking about suffering, and you know, like, we're all in this together. I was kind of getting that sense, like, we need to be for each other and for fellow believers,
Yeah.
and really pray for them and lift them up instead of like accusing them. And that's what I felt like, they were just accusing him for no reason.
Right. And I think
For no legitimate reason.
No, there was
Right.
no legitimate reason.
Anything else you want to share in this before we wrap it up?
Yeah, well, what I really liked about it is, if we read in the first chapter, I think just within the first couple of verses, we read that word comfort. Yours said console, mine says comfort, which is cool.
Mine says comfort too.
About 10 times, and it made me want to ask the question, what was Paul wanting to say by saying comfort so many times? And I think it really had a lot to do with just the grace of God on his life, like trying to instill in him, you're my chosen one.
Yes.
I've done great things through you, and you're going to continue on in your testimonies and things like that. And I really liked verse 4. It says, who comforts us in every trouble and calamity, which is God, so that we may also be able to comfort those who are in any kind of trouble or distress, and the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God. And so I just really liked that, because it's like when we go through something, and when we have calamity, or you know, who knows what we face in the wilds of this life, that if we can make it through, and that if by the grace of God he consoles, we'll have that as a testimony or a drink offering to somebody else who will be able to be comforted. So I liked that, because Paul, if anybody, can comfort us in a lot of ways.
That's true. And I actually, the word comfort here means exhortation, cheer, and encourages. And so I thought that was cool. Your Bible says a lot of that.
Yeah.
Cheer.
Cool.
That, I like that part. It's like, it's not all gloom and doom, even if it feels like everything around us is falling apart or we're being attacked. It's like we have that comfort. Bye!